on the screen today take some salvation in the fact that we know, or we knew yesterday, that Ethereum had to come down to 3,558. We know that this seems to be built on quicksand, and it appears that this was a big fake out to the top side, which we can't confirm that at all unless Bitcoin or Ethereum breaks below 3,558. XRP comes below $2.90 or 89 cents, and Bitcoin comes below that. Well, Bitcoin technically is below that level. That could end up running it down to that 110 or 106K area. And then ultimately, if it loses that, the fair value gap at 91K. If XRP loses $2.89, the next layer to me is about $2.50. That's the fair value gap. I will show you everything in real time. And also some of these far-fetched ones that are so cheap right now, and when they rotate to where we want, and I will be very transparent when I buy these tokens. I promise you, I give you my word. And like I've said, I had no temptation in buying this rally, no temptation in buying this in the last couple of days. Anything short of validation, they can do whatever they want. They're going to have to prove me back in. And I'll show you the tokens, but they're going to have to prove it to me. There's no better feeling than having 45,000 on the sideline right now and letting the market makers do whatever the hell they want right now. And finding an opportunity where I can turn that into... My goal is to turn that 40K into 400 when we get to the next rotation, but it's got to be entered at the right time. That doesn't count XRP or XRP Healthcare. This is my funds outside of that. So, you know, it's just what we built up with in these rallies, in this market. And that's my plan on this next push. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, but I've got to wait for the confirmations. And I don't think we're done yet. That's the bottom line. I personally don't think we're done. But, you know, I've been wrong before. But it's certainly, like I said yesterday, well, I can't say like I said because that's speaking in the past tense. And if somebody wasn't here, what does it matter? But the observation from our community over the past 48 hours, the first step on the rebound, it came right back up like it should have for a back test. Then what Ethereum did, where it ended up getting knocked down, where XRP gets over 306, but could never break up over that to make the actual run up to $3.28, is a very big rejection. And now being under $3 is a huge undertow underneath that psychological support. If Ethereum falls below 3,558 here real quickly, it's a problem. It's a very big problem. It had a nice, what I thought was a artificial run up. And I've never seen it in the history where the government's telling you to buy something, Eric Trump's telling you to buy something, you know, all of these places are telling you to buy something, all of retail's in this particular something, and they just let it go to oblivion. I've never seen it happen before where they are voluntarily having Jim Cramer come on and say, buy Bitcoin, buy Ethereum, buy HBAR. I've never one time in the history seen them come on and voluntarily tell us when a real rally's starting. I've seen them have us come into false hope. I've had them have us enter like they tried to on Thursday and Wednesday right before a drop and then feel good about an artificial run-up that doesn't even come up 70% of the drop. I've seen this many times, but I don't know. We'll see, because you can't say 100% what's going to happen, but I can tell you with 100% certainty, if Ethereum comes right through here, which I believe it probably will. I haven't switched my viewpoint this entire way, and I've been coasting the last couple of days. We've had great lives. You know, we've had great back and forth. So, you know, so Jim Cramer said he's bearish on August and September. I don't know. I don't watch him that deep. I just know because I was sent some of the stuff what he said about buying those particular tokens. He should be bearish in August and September. September historically is the most bearish month in crypto's chart. But we'll see. We'll see if we come down below 3,005. I like 3,558. Let's get it in real time. We'll give it some grace. Try to give it some grace. 3,553. If it comes below there, this bearish cross, like right now, in the 3 hourly, we came back below this bearish cross, and the next step would be to fall through this, come through the 200 at 3,462 and think reverse. There's a bullish narratives for the rate. I love it. Ooh, I feel liquidity. Oh, yes. I hope people are buying because of what you just said. Messi. HK, I'm not taking a shot. I hope people are buying because of exactly what you said. That's our drop down liquidity. Needed to bust this down. I hope they buy because of that part of the narrative. August and September will be bullish. Well, I mean, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. But we'll see. A big step of if we're going to be bullish or bearish, because I'm trying to be unbiased. I'm just saying. If we're going to be bullish or bearish here is if we can hold for Ethereum at 3,553. If this holds, and this is a official back test, and we start holding some of these areas and we don't fall through, maybe so. But if we fall through this area, it's going to put a very big hole in the... Maybe we could stay bullish in August and September. Me personally, like I said yesterday and the day before, I'm scared to death for retail that can't read a chart. Because they're going to get tugged to buy in every time they see green. And then on average, retail refuses to buy the red. So even if it dropped today, if they bought yesterday and it's down 5, 6, 7% from where they bought, they're not buying today. They're looking at it saying, well, I'm going to sit it out. But if you really have conviction that it's going up and this is just a back test, you should be adding into it if you have the ability. But I want to go deeper into the charts. I don't care if it's a shakeout or not. I don't care what it is. I'm just going to let the charts talk about what it is, and we can let human emotion dictate what the comments are saying about what they feel is going to happen or their reasons why they think it's going to happen, because it's important. We need to see the human mind work from everybody. It's a big case study. So as we roll into this, good morning, 11:06 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. And this is important. Don't make any decision yet. Just watch this, because if we get an official back test here, and then this is actually the start of some kind of, I don't want to say a V shape, but some kind of inversion here. And then we get the back test and then it bounces out. And first we make a new high here at 3,737 after holding this back test. Because look, we've back tested it. There's no doubt about it. This has now back tested this area. I'll keep it there because that's the area I said I can't lower it on the fly. It's hit the 3,558. So it's absolutely held this area as of right now. So if this holds it now, and this is where you can find a bullish narrative, and this is why we stay in the moment. This is where if you're looking for an entry, if you see Ethereum bounce off 3,558, you now see it break back above 3,730, that's a signal. Your confirmation would be to make a new high here and overtake that 4K level. And that would be your ultimate signal that, hey, this could be something here. And if it is, we're starting that uptrend and that track up to that $6,500 level. And then and that's not even the whole story here, because the whole story for Ethereum, if this actually did what it needs to do in the grand scheme, this would go up to like 15K overall after it breaks this. Like, that's the crazy part if it does play out 100. So, oh, everybody calls it a shakeout. They're not shakeouts. I don't think the elite give a rat's ass about shaking us out. That's where I disagree with everybody. I agree with you, who said that? I agree with you, BG House, because everything, it's always a shakeout. Goes down 70%, they're trying to shake us out. It's 17 years they've been shaking us out, and then it goes up, they say CEO's a shakeout. No. They're holding your liquidity until the time was right. Like, it's not a shakeout. I hate that too. It's a shakeout. Now, how about it's just part of the pattern? How about it's just part of the pattern that it needed to back test, and instead of looking at it as a shakeout, look at it as the pattern with trading bots and algorithms, because that's who controls it. You understand the trading bots and algorithms don't have emotion. They're an algorithm. They're a bot. It's AI. It's artificial intelligence. It's doing it in its... So now the pattern says, hey, we've either back testing here for a breakout, or we're artificially come out and we're going to wait for 70% of the move, which I don't think it would go way back here, but I do think it could bring you down to here first quarter, maybe second quarter, but it's going to tell us right now if it's time. That's the beauty. Oh, before the week started, we talked about over the week on the next 72 hours or the next 4 days. I don't remember how I worded it. Will tell us exactly what we need to know about alt season. This is what I was talking about. We had the move up. Now we're going to see if the back test holds. If the back test holds and what I say happens on that, if that happens, we're in alt season, more than likely. If it fails to hold this, we're early. And we'll probably take until the end or sometime in Q1 2026 to start seeing that parabolic movement. Not the ultimate movement, but when it starts to truly move parabolic for Ethereum, which by virtue will start to signal the altcoins that it's time. So, who could imagine AI running the charts until recently? Well, to be fair, I've been saying this since 2021 when I started, so our community. I talked about the trading algorithms and the bots that run the trades, and that's how they go for liquidity, and that's why I don't use stop losses. I've been saying the same thing since 21 when I started here. It's just becoming more obvious now that AI is more known. Because now the average person is like, wait a minute. If AI can make me a PowerPoint presentation based on 17 words I said and make it look like a professor wrote it in 12 seconds, you know, maybe it's not so far-fetched. Like, think about it back. I always knew something was wrong back in the day when they had the full tilt poker bots. Or the poker bots for Texas Hold'em. So I'm playing against the guy who's using a friggin' algorithm bot. And it's making a in-the-moment decision based on percentages, not human emotion. So I could be playing against somebody saying, oh, I'm going to fake this guy out because I've watched the way he plays and he's a friggin' bot. And I started to eat against the bots because it was so easy because they would make the predictable play. You would look at it and say, well, if the probability of this hand's 60%, even though I know they have a better hand than me, the bot's probably going to play off of it here if it's within range. But if it gets below that 50% for the bot, and you start to look at the board and be like, what's the possibility? And if you start to understand, you can beat the algorithm. You just have to play the algorithm's game. And that's what I've started to do big time. And you guys just watch it. I like the algorithm's game because then I take out the emotion of even the market manipulators are manipulating it. I'll say that sometimes in the title, get a response, but I don't believe it anymore. I think the algorithm is not the elite, but they understand the algorithm and the bots, the way they work, so they know entry points. They know entry points. You think Warren Buffett's sitting there saying, fuck these little sons of bitches? You know, no, he doesn't give a rat's ass. He's looking at the market for not the emotion of the market, but the right spots in the market. You really think Brad Garlinghouse is sitting there jerking off in his tent saying, oh my God, look at all these XRP traders that we hook, line, and sinker them at the end of each month for the 1 billion? Or do you think he's happy that all these people like the product and it's easy to push over on everybody? I think I'll take the second one. So, you know, maybe I shouldn't talk about the sexual part. Last time I did, they ended my stream. Whoops. Understood, JW. Let me get to the comments. Tango, welcome in, along with Frankie Fresh. Thank you both for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XP Meteor, along with Frankie Fresh, significant other. I always forget to say the name, and then I forget the name because I say so many names. For some reason, I think Dean, but then I think I'm going to be wrong, so I have no idea anymore. Dan Marginal, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge, me being abducted by aliens. Kawabunga, good morning. Ben B and Joseph Boiler, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XP Predictor. And we're going to charts after this. Charts. I won't have time for a lot of comments. Arichi and the Cannabis Podcast, welcome in, and thanks for Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XP Predictor. Bob Bertner and Mark Caston, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Garbanzo, welcome in, and thanks for being in your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Syrian, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year, along with UK Phil, CJ2 Pilot, and Mo Zahir. Thank you, all 4 of you, for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. And Syrian, thanks for being a very trusted mod in here and an admin in the Telegram. I greatly appreciate that. And everybody not in there, you are missing out. Join Tom's Army and get exclusive access, and then you can cancel after 1 month if you want. But even somebody tried to be scam as of 12 a.m. this morning, so by having procedures in place, we're able to stop it quickly. But Unfortunately, it is what it is. There are rules to the exception, however. There are exceptions to the rule. So not everybody needs to be in Tom's Army situationally, of course. Ben Graham, welcome in. Strider, good morning. Agony, good morning, and says reactive network will get you more than 400K with 40K. It's a bold statement. Let's see. I'm going to take a picture with my phone so I can study. I've heard you talk about reactive network more than once now, and now, obviously, I got to look at it a little deeper because this is like more than a few. That's why we love crypto. It balances our emotions. Absolutely, HK, 100%. 100%. Messi, welcome in. Melomania, good morning. KP says it wasn't a shakeout if you study the chart going back to 2020. You see this is just normal pullbacks before the pump. XRP truly won't soar until the case is officially closed and clarity at best. Amen. Amen. And don't forget to give thanks to your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on this beautiful Tuesday morning as we are trying to unify and grow our understanding, grow our abundance, and grow our clarity and our emotional and our balance we're trying to keep within all of us. Like, it's a weird thing trying to balance it within all of us. But try to remain humble, remain with your integrity showing at all times, and not showing but acting with integrity to where it's shown. And then also not forgetting to give thanks to your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Yahweh, Yahshua, and understanding that we have more than one person speaking our Lord and Savior, and God becomes present in our actions, which allowed us a guiding arm, which is what we truly need in this time of despair. Ricardo, welcome in. Agony, good morning. Lee Abbey, welcome. G Stott, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. I greatly appreciate that. Massey, we could bounce. I think 105 would be a good area. I do, because if we were to lose 110, now the only problem is here, if we lose this area, and this is a rising wedge, that technically does have a technical drop to 79,000, and I'm not going to ignore it, as you shouldn't either. You know, so that's something that we have to understand. It also is interesting, the area that it would bring it into. But that is an honest-to-God problem here. It's a problem, which is why we couldn't afford to get rejected at that 115.4. And it's like, how ironic that it had a close under it yesterday. And now here we are. Like, we can't afford to lose. I'm generous with 110. But we can't afford to lose this, what appears to be on a breakdown, a rising wedge. But I guess on a breakout, you could still say it was a rising triangle. That's why you can't afford to lose this area. You just can't afford it. Because if you lose this area, it opens up the door to such a big drop, possibly, that are you ready for a 30% drop in Bitcoin? I'm just asking. If Bitcoin dropped 30%, where do you think the rest of the market's going? Could that be a possibility where XRP fills that gap at even $1.50? Probably. If Bitcoin drops 30%, this market it's shaken out in a different way. Not because they're trying to shake you out, it's because they're trying to liquidate you. I don't know anybody who's going to sit in the market after 50% losses and stay and play around in that market. Especially if they sold out. Kryptonian, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. Crypto Cooter, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. But Messi, I agree, that 105, 106 area, there is a spot of real strong support there, but I'm not sure how it holds. Like, could we go 106 back to 111 to try to see if it gets rejected? Probably. And then we'll see if it was just a fake out, and then we get back into, instead of it being a rising wedge, a rising triangle. I don't know. It's ugly right now, though. Because there's so many unknowns. If it holds here, it'd be fantastic. Because then you could have a tremendous buying opportunity with validation, and then you could have an underneath support structure as well. Bitcoin dominance at 61, 64 and growing. We've seen a small inverse head and shoulders in the short term. That is, it could play out. But it was here, and then it bounced out, back testing. So maybe it is going to play out more, but we're coming for a rejection here at 61.73 unless it breaks out. I would be shocked if this doesn't play down at some point. Like, now we have to move this variable over to here because it took longer. But at some point, this is going to happen, and it's going to bring us down to a 56%, 57. Once you get to 57, you technically could start an alt season if that happened. That unanimously with Ethereum having its last dump down, and then the money, instead of pouring back into Bitcoin after, continues to trot out and it starts to flow into alts and Ethereum. That could be a proper way. That could be a proper way. Let's see. Trial by fire, good morning. Agony says Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Ethereum dominance looks like it's trying to start its fifth wave on the daily. It's possible. That's why we're trying to see if we can hold this area. Everything's going to tell us. It's going to tell us everything right here. I'm a skeptic right now. It's going to have to prove it to me. I've seen this in other structures and other market rallies when it was bull to bear, other cycles, where right when you think it's about to go out in August and September, what ends up happening is in August and September, it ends up dumping down for an unexpected 35% drop. When it looks like it should recover nonetheless, and it could go up higher before this happens. And then after that, it forms a proper liquidity for a proper push into alt season. But I'm telling you guys, this next alt season, I don't think we've seen anything like what we're going to see with percentage-wise. I don't know about XRP because of how much it's already moved. But I'm talking about like the IoT, ISO, and certain AI tokens, of course, RWA ones as well, which are the real-world asset tokens, which there aren't many, but there is a bridge token right now trying to create the ecosystem, which we watch. But I think this alt season is going to be, your dreams are going to be made if you understand it. It doesn't mean you have to buy, you can buy anywhere and everywhere. It just means if you understand it and you are in during the actual alt season when we get the validation, the verification, and the solidification, and the actual proper, you know, formulations here that actually make sense. It's not going to be one of those 3, 4, 5x ones like we've seen in 21, like for XRP or some of the others. You've already seen XRP out move 10x. I think some of these other ones could move 15, 20, 30x, and we see them and watch them every single day. We watch algo every single day. For example, ready to get into some TA? And this is why you have to find an area that's good. That's why I remember when I did this yesterday, I said this is fun to do this yesterday, because now if it goes down 2, 3, 4, 5, 10%, it'll intrigue someone to buy this with the understanding. So with the understanding, if this is the left shoulder, the area as a whole, this is the head as a whole, even though they're both structurally, and if it comes down one more time, you're nut buy here for algo. If you're afraid and you're waiting for it, the reality says that this apex moment, if it has to play out during the entirety here, mind you, it doesn't have to, would get you all the way to 2026 in June, roughly somewhere around here. And then it also says, as long as you buy anywhere, 9.1 cents. No, we can go higher because we'll go on the resistance side. Anywhere about 11.7, you'll be fine on average. Now, if you don't buy that structure, you have two choices. One, you take a gamble when it's higher. Or two, you wait for it to come back down and tap it one last time if it's going to. Which means we'd be looking for a buy somewhere around that 9.2 cent area on average. I don't know if that's going to happen. This structure may not break down. But that's what this is telling us the maximum pull down could be. Now, understanding the maximum pull down from where it's at, I would say it's a better idea to wait for confirmation, understanding that you could have a maximum pull down of 60%. That's a big pull down. But understanding the pattern as a whole, we know what we're looking at if this breaks out. So you got to find a way some way, but we're projecting here like we did with XRP. And if this played out exactly like it should in time, yes, you have a pull down to about 9.1 cents, which is the bottom line. And we're at 24 cents. So yes, there could be some kind of market collapse coming, or it could be the start of its renewal. And we just need confirmation and you're going to wait 5 or 10%. Would you rather cost yourself 60% without confirmation, or just cost yourself a 5% entry fee, or 10% to where you're buying it a little bit higher to get the confirmation? That's all. And that's what I'm doing. I've already been in it from the initial rally down, but once I sold it in January, most of my stuff, I waited and I'm waiting and I'm waiting for that final execution here. So it's so we know the potential here. Imagine it does go down to 10 cents and it's got a $7.45 potential, which that's what it's going to hit. Let's say it even does it from here, right? Let's say this is the bottom. I mean, guys, even from here at 25.6 cents, which, as we know, it's not even at 25.6. But I'm saying, I just showed you it from if you wait to get the confirmation, and it's still a 2,700% move if it plays out. These are going to be life-altering moves once they happen. And some will leave because they're going to say, well, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Is it? Is it? Is it? Because if you're new, this is exactly how we pinpointed XRP, and I did this out into the future the same way. But you see this? I did it on the market cap for XRP with the XRP market cap and projected it with the W. Like you've seen on Algo and IOTA. I projected it because it had the full scale. And we projected it, and look what happened. We were buying it when it was at 22 billion market cap. You know, we were buying it when it was at 20 billion before this run up. You know, and even now it's at 176 billion. The same foreshadowing and foresight we had with XRP, I'm going to give you with the rest of them. And I'm going to hone in like you've never seen honed in before, because this drop is going to be the gravy train. I don't know if it goes 20, 30, 50, 60, if this back test holds, and this was the essence of it. But once we figure this out, I want to hear anybody say it's anything about the buying possibilities and opportunities until we see the proper back test going forward. It very well could be a buying opportunity, but it could also be a cut your balls off. You don't be walking around, you know, with no pants on and have to start from ground zero and have to reinvest money to make back what you lose if there is going to be this drop. And then with IOTA, you see Algo. IOTA, we're projecting. If IOTA does it, it's $10.87. However, that doesn't mean just jump in now. The validation here would be to get over 24 and actually hold. However, the bottom side here, if you look at it in the interim, it's actually could be lower because we had support. It did break down to here, but you're not going to go like this. You're going to say that that was probably an overzealous shakeout, or the uptrend started right here. And you go like this. And I have more of a conviction here to go like this because it did invalidate this support structure. Oops. Back here. So this is almost, this would be like what we did with XRP. We ignored the first part of it until it came all the way back down to tap support again after it went parabolic. So that's how we come to that. But I wanted to wait to show you guys this when we started this live. And then we're going to use the uptrend here that's going to be started about right here. Because it used it and it was very happy on it. But we can't just go over here and skip the reality that it did come back through on a failed attempt. So this means the pull down here, and I love looking at it like this, and if you guys stay, I promise this will change your life if you watch this play out. I promise you. It's the same thing I promised with XRP back in 2021, or if you sold and then waited, and then you bought it in 23. Like, it changed everybody's life, and some people are fully out and they couldn't be happier. I bought a lot more than I initially planned on when it came back to 38 cents. And that whole $5,000 worth, whatever I bought there, and you can do the math, I sold it $3 plus on average. So that's all gone. I don't need to worry about it. My initial $10,000 for 34 cents, it's my baby. There's like 12,000, but it's my baby, and I'm going to keep it for all eternity. But right now, it's a 39% drawdown on IOTA right now, and that's being conservative. If we take the unconservative route, you could probably find a lower area. But I think this is the way to look at it. And then with that being said, even if you wait for confirmation, and see, this is the beauty of looking at confirmation. I don't care. We'll look at the ultimate possibility of how much it could be a bounce up from the bottom. But let's wait. You do wait for confirmation, and you wait. And you wait for it to get up. You let it dilly-daddle. And you wait for it to get to that 24. I would dare say maybe a little bit higher. That's the higher point. But if you wait for this confirmation down here, and it might not play out, right? Let's say you wait to 28 cents. Just give it some grace. I mean, you're talking about a 3,000%, 3,500% move. Now, sure, everybody's going to want to see what it would be. Hey, if it comes down to 11 cents. And I'm the same way. Whoops. We'll do it from 13 cents. How about that? This is from 1332. What could you do with a 7,800% return? I'm just saying, these are not these are what's going to end up happening at some point in the future. We don't know when, just like with XRP, we didn't know how long it took, but I'm telling you, please don't leave my community right now, because you're literally going to walk away from a guaranteed 6 figures if you do this right. And I mean that. And this isn't our first rodeo. We bought before the bull run in 21. I started March 24th of 2021. I've never missed a day. Zero, gazillion, zero. And we watched it. We sold out on the right arm in the the bull market of 21. We did not buy back until the bottom of the bear market in 23. Like, we could not have hit it better. Period. Then some of you sold out with me when we made, and it went up. In the December, January run, I sold off 75% of my crypto. I swing traded a little bit. We did very well as a community when I was doing copy trading, but then people just got overzealous, put too much of their own personal money into it, and it became not what it was supposed to be. So I terminated it until further notice. And now we've got the objective field here. Algo, IOTA, and again, if you missed XRP, don't skip XLM. And I talked about it at 41 cents because I thought it was cool, because when it drops, then you'll pay attention more. And now we've dropped a little bit. But this is XLM. And I haven't measured if it gets on top of $1.77, because it should. But I personally believe IOTA has a lot more potential, and so does Algo. So I'm probably going to throw all of that money that would have been in XLM another way, personally. And there's a reason for that, because I believe XDC is going to outperform XLM infinity fold. FYI. Infinity fold. So I think eventually this is going to outperform it so much that it's a good bet. It's just a good bet. And like this cup, I don't know if this plays out right now. I just know we're early. If we're early, if you measure this out, like this is telling us that this could go way long. I don't think it's going to go that long. I don't. But we're early. I still think it could come back down here again. It just depends what the market's trying to do. But I think we're early. Is there any shame in being one of the only ones saying we're early? Because I can go to any other station and they're, oh, blah, blah, blah. They're telling you every reason why you should be hand over fist so excited. I'm not excited yet. I have a plan, and I'll get excited when it's the right time, but right now I'm fearful. Not of the market. I'm fearful of people that are going to get put in the wrong position, because even yesterday, if they bought that green, now they're finding themselves 5 to 10% down, and I don't think they're holding through that, most of them. I think they're going to sell and say, this is bullshit. Everybody under the sun, it's green, and all of a sudden I wake up today and my 10,000's worth 9,300. This is bullshit. Why should I stay in this crappy market? I could have bought gold, and even that pile of shit's up $11. I could have bought silver, like Tom said, and I'm up 1% on the day instead of being down 9%. And that's true. I showed everybody my buy on Friday when everything was getting rolled, when Hecla was at 564, and I bought another couple hundred shares, 222 to be exact. When Fortuna was, where was Fortuna? Or First Majestic and Fortuna, I bought more of that. Couple hundred shares, I think 222 each. You know, and it was, I'm like, I'm feasting. They're all worried about this, and it's like, don't you understand with our economy, with where we're going eventually, even if this keeps coming down, I'm going to buy it all. I bought it way cheaper than it is now, and they paid dividends. I used to have a $7,000 portfolio on the precious metals, the mining stocks, and now it's over 50-something thousand. I'm not going to stop now. Certainly won't stop now. And then if you get even more caught up and you're like, I really want to take my finances seriously, as people will leave now during this talk, which is good. You can go into the emerging markets and start your own traditional IRA. And right now I'm getting about 12% on average per year. And I just started doing this last year. And this year it's already cooking. But I like the emerging markets. These are mutual funds, and you get $7,000 you can write off in a traditional IRA. And I do it every year starting last year to balance my crypto gains and everything else. So if I make 50 grand, this is an example, it's 43. And then people are like, well, when you sell it off, then you have to pay the taxes. True, but who says you have to sell it all off? You sell off a monthly portion and let the mutual funds keep growing when you're retired. It's a little trick that most people don't understand. Slowly but surely wins the race. I put 3,500 in Vanguard emerging markets. The select stock, I put 3,500 into this. The select fund investor shares, I put 3,500 into Vanguard's bond fund investor shares in the emerging markets last year. This year, I put $3,500 into Fidelity Emerging Markets Fund and into Fidelity's Emerging Markets Discovery Fund. I'm a very big fan of both of them, and they've been doing me very well so far. Over the past year, up 13.45%. This one's up over 16. Year over year, the average you're looking for is about 8%. A high-performing fund is up about 10%. My fund that I have over the last year, if it's in Fidelity, is up 16.6, and this one's up 13.4. The Vanguard one over the last year, it had an up and down shakeout period. It's up 3.19%, but the other one's up 20%. This one, I believe, has a lot of upside still, here, and it hasn't made the run. But that's the ever evolved. Oh no, I did 3,500 into Vanguard and 3,500 into the emerging one Fidelity, and this year I added this one with the Vanguard, and I added the Fidelity Discovery Fund. Duh, how stupid am I? But you got to look for ones that have 10-year plus history so that you can see the, your technical. So I'm very happy with the payout so far. So far, the 14,000 is up like, I don't know, it's been about 10 months or so since I started it, because I started in like October of last year. It's up like, I think, $1,600 or $1,700 so far. And it's just, and they're monthly paying dividends as well, so you get reinvesting dividends if you do it right. But yeah, 3,500, I believe the minimum buy-ins was like 25 or 3,000. I think 3,000 are the minimum purchases. But don't get it. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only, but don't go get a broker. I can show you what I do, and you can emulate it. I'm not looking to lose on returns, and I know what markets to look at. I know how to play the U.S. I have precious metals. I play the emerging markets with mutual funds. You can do value and high growth stocks if you want, but I prefer mutual funds and emerging markets. That's how I tap the emerging markets, through mutual funds. And I'm 41 years old. I'm going to let these emerging market mutual funds play up and continue to do what they do over the next 3 decades or 2.5 decades. So if you want to go along for the ride, I'll show you every step of the way. That's why I have my mining stocks. Notice my other sectors are combating the red of crypto. Mutual funds are doing fine on the emerging side. Mining stocks are doing good while crypto is getting hammered. My gold and silver bullion are doing good. I'm getting dividends on my mining stocks besides for Fortuna Silver. Even though First Majestic is pitiful, Hecla's is pitiful, Pan America's is pitiful, there's still dividends. B2 Gold is on top of the sector. Barrick Gold's okay. But I like mining stocks because then you don't sell your physical gold and silver, period. That's for your next generation of wealth. When you buy gold and silver, it's not for you, folks. It's for your kids, your grandchildren, if you're older. I know a few people in my audience are in the 70s. Some are in their 80s. The ones in their 70s are doing a good job. They're trying to build up gold and silver for their kids, grandkids, with no intention of ever touching that store of value. That's why it's a store of value. The crypto's for gambling. Your mining stocks are for gambling, in a sense. Your emerging markets and mutual funds are not for gambling. That's a 25 to 30 year mindset, and if you can get 10% on average, you're ahead of the game. If you get 5, don't sweat it. 5% a year is still a good return. I don't care what anybody says. Although it's still not worth it, because on a standard savings account you can get about 4%, or no, a standard CD, which I don't like them. But in the mutual fund, I can sell at any time. I use my JP Morgan trading app. I don't pay anybody. I think the one has a 0.7% operating cost because, when they're buying and selling out of these funds, you still have to pay a fee. But it's in the cost of buying it and your share price, and then the actual deduction. And then the other ones are like 0.3. Don't buy anything over 1. If they have an asset fee of over 1 when you're buying it and doing it yourself, it's outrageous. But sometimes you have to if you like something, but I don't personally. I think the highest one I do is 0.8, and it's, I think, the Fidelity one of the Fidelity and one of the Vanguard, but they're high turnover, so a lot more, human dealings. But anyhow, going forward, on the same line we talk about HBAR, and I promised today we would go deeper into HBAR. And I hope this information I hope this information resonates with some of you. I really do. I put a lot of time into this in my own personal time for mine and Julie's future and our sons and Julie's 2 kids that I treat as my own for the last 11 years. And I will forever. But I'm trying to build a future that they don't even know about it. Like, I just have these secret things on the side that in 15, 20 years, I'm not going to have to... When my time's up, when I'm 80, I'm hoping 100. That's what I'm thinking. I've always took care of myself in a certain sense and got into better shape and didn't do certain, I didn't do drugs and things that would have ended my life sooner, in theory. But I'm looking for something in 35 years so that when I'm sitting here at 76 years old, and I will be in front of all of you, some of you will still be with us, some of you have already been moved on, and some of you will be just literally starting out in my section that I'm in right now at 41. You'll be there. Your kids will. Or maybe your kid's watching right now and doesn't even know what I'm talking about. So that's what I'm trying to build. I know Nick is on the same page, and thanks for being a very trusted mod, Nick. And also for controlling things and trying to keep people on the right track with the technicals. Even if the micros look bad, Nick has a real finesse here showing you the macro. So yeah, what if the maximum pull down here, let's just say worst case scenario happens, and for this one time, I hope it happens. It won't. But could you imagine buying, well, it might. HBAR again at 5.2 cents, like on Winning Wednesdays, FOMO Fridays, like we bought back here for this rally up, just to sell it while and then to ride and sell. And we've been riding this so much. And now it's looking for that last official buy-in. The next buy-in for me, there's not going to be no more selling, period. So I'm trying to find that right time. If you buy right now, the maximum drawdown could be, and I don't necessarily think this is going to happen. I would say it's probably more in line with 24% maximum pull down. But let's just say worst case scenario happens, has to retest. After all, you sell resistance, buy support. That's like a 79% drop. But if we start to look at this and we start to say, well, what could possibly be here? Well, I'm going to tell you. And it's pretty nice. And again, I don't think this has as much upside, and some will kill me, as IOTA and Algo. I just don't personally think that. I could be wrong. I just don't think it. I think it's got unbelievable upside, and I will be owning it. And this time around, if it does what I think, and if we actually do get a correction, it's not going to be I hold 20,000. I told you, it's going to be a very much more narrow mindset. And yes, for anybody wondering, Band and Dent make my protocol list for what I want to do. They're just going to be at the $3,000 or $4,000 level each. They're not going to be 7, 8, 9,000 in each of them. Actually, if they go to where I want, I'll only have to put about 2,000 into them each, because I want 5 million Dent, 5,000 Band is the goal. Unless Band gets so cheap, I can get 10,000, and Dent gets so cheap, I can get 10 million. But I agree, Nick. That 15-cent area, if it can hold what would create a real pull down there, and it would create like this right shoulder area, and it would also test real hardcore below the neckline. That could be an amazing buying opportunity. If you look at it in the grand scale, I mean, we've already finished this off, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Now we're just trying to see if it invalidates, holds it, or needs to come down a little bit farther to create this short-term inverse pattern. That's why I could see a 25% pull down maximizing here as well if it happened. But look at this, just for the starting layers, and it's pretty interesting when you start talking about this. And this is what we did with XRP so many years ago, and I'm starting to do it with the other ones and acknowledge it now that we're in certain parts of the pattern. That's $1.12. And some would say, well, Tom, that's bullshit. It's never even come over close to $1. Acknowledging that. I'm acknowledging that. But we're trying to build something that hasn't happened yet, right? So let's just say from here. And I'm not saying this is the maximum capacity, but from what we can see and what needs to be formed, you've got a 370% move even from here. Even if it fails out, takes 6 years to do what it's got to do. By the time it gets back here and goes up, that's your potential. Now, yeah, if it goes all the way back down here and it has to come all the way back down, well, yeah, that's when you start getting this 2 to 3,000% move like you've seen with some of the other ones. But that's if it maximizes a drop. And no, it wouldn't invalidate the overall uptrend. And yes, it would still be well within this pattern, just like XRP was for many years. This has been trapped inside it since 2020. So early in comparison to XRP's, which was trapped from 2017. But it's ugly. And these are the times we talk. 3,558 was my number. Give it grace to 3,550. Because this is what needed to happen even if it was bullish. There's no second. I'm telling you guys, though, if you need to understand technical analysis, don't hesitate. Join Tom's Army. If you're in it, please go here. Go into the post. And if you're a member of Tom's Army and you haven't done this yet or you just joined, nobody's joined, no donations today. So I know nobody's joined during the live. But if you do end up joining or you haven't done this, go to my XRP Future Millionaire homepage on YouTube. Go to the post, and it's the members only post. You'll see a green star next to it. You have to be a paid member. You click on this. You go into the Telegram. We have right now 447 members. You will not find something like this anywhere else. I guarantee it. And you can cancel your membership if you want. But again, last night somebody tried to scam somebody. We have a help desk and somebody reported it very quickly. And they reported it last night. And they locked some of the stuff that they put in here. And somebody was trying to spam and do some other stuff. So we got to it very quickly, got to the bottom line. Defined is great with this and some other people. We have the help desk if we ever do go back to other things as well. We've got the content link so you never miss anything on YouTube live shorts or just a regular update. Got the community hub where we all talk. We've got the PagerX where I share my thoughts. And today I said to start the trading week XRP, and I do it every single day. Define gave me a real clear voice here, and sometimes I post more than once. And this is just a look into what you'll get. So you don't even have to wait for the lives and all this to get the information. I put this out hours ago when I was at the gym. To start the trading week, XRP sits at a very volatile level, sitting just about $3. Price action must first retake $3.06 before falling below $2.89 to avoid a bearish continuation. Ultimately, to push back into bullish territory at $3.28. Bitcoin first needs to retake 115,500 or face his first drop to 110K. Now we've fallen off a little bit, as we know, with Bitcoin under 113. And then 106K before falling off a cliff. If 115.5K is ultimately ultimately 118 is retaken, it starts to flip bullish. Ethereum is at 3,560 above the 3,558 support. And I think that was supposed to be 3,006 something this morning. I missed, maybe it was, but I don't think it was at 3. Maybe it was. I think it actually was down there. Never mind. Above the 3,558 support. If held, it will target 3,700 and ultimately a push to 4,100 into alt season if we can hold over 4,100. We have to be over to push into alt season. A failure, however, will send prices to $3,100. Then possibly off a cliff. Beware, pay attention. A lot of info comes out this week that could negatively impact risk assets on Thursday. Only time will tell. Have a blessed day. And that was the other day. And then if you look at today, that was what we said yesterday. So that makes sense. That makes sense. And now if you look at just the difference, good morning to our beautiful community. This morning's technicals are as follows. Let's first start with our focus on XRP after a brief attempt above the $3.06 pivot point to target a bullish run to $3.28. It failed to hold the level. It now currently has support underneath that $2.98, which it's currently fighting with, and $2.89. If a breach below $2.89 occurs before a retake of $3.28 or retake of $3.28, it would be considered a bearish rejection. As for Ethereum, after a bounce to 3,728, a lack of volume has reversed it down by about 2.4% today. And a backtest at 3,558 is needed, which has happened now. If it fails to drop below 3,100 is very possible. A hold and a run to 4K is cemented. Or a hold and a run to 4K is cemented. As for Bitcoin, it briefly pushed to the, it's supposed to say the 115.5K. See why it's very important to check this. I could have swore it said 115.5, but it's supposed to say 115.5. After a brief push to 115, or briefly pushed to 115.5K, which is a rising wedge and or a triangle. We can't quite tell. Seems like a rising wedge, but we can't tell. Resistance and found rejection. A loss of 113.5K will send the price to 110, then 106K. If both are lost, the 91K FVG level is possible unless 118K is retaken first. Proceed with caution. Thursday is the implementation of tariffs. Not typically bullish for risk assets. As for the total three, remember this is the total market cap of all tokens, not Bitcoin or Ethereum. The total three needs to reclaim 998 billion or risk a drop to 880 billion if 925 billion is lost, putting a significant damper on alt season for 2025. Trade with caution this week into September, likely a rate cut. So I thought that was a great way to put that. And I'm trying to make it easier and easier and easier for people to understand. You can go to the red flag zone and get help. We have new members. We have some that are in their 70s, some that are in their late teens, early 20s, some who have never traded before, and some that are seasoned veterans. We've got our compliant agent defined. We've got a few agents. We've got a few agents here that help us out here, that keep us on the right track, and they allow us to continue this community. We have Jorge, he's our integrity agent. Syrian, big time mod in there, and admin from in here as well. You just know her from in here, so I won't tell you her fancy title until you go in there. And then we've got Nick, who's our technical advisor, and he's a light years ahead of most on the chart, just light years. Don't take him for granted though. There's not very many people who'd be willing to do what he does with the 9 to 5 to help this community grow. So yeah. Right now though, we're at the cusp of having a big fall through. It's not a good sign that we bounced twice, came back to it again, but we're still over that level. We're over that 35.58 for starters, which was my back test area. So this is why yesterday it's like there was no reason to do anything. It had to come. Either way, we were coming back to back test. I would stay away from the percentages of the rate cut. I would just go with your own feel. For me, it's always been September was the most obvious because they kept saying these same percentages leading into the past ones until it got closer. But I do agree that it's probably upwards of 80, 85, 90% chance. If there's a time to cut rates, it would be September. And it would be a time to drop the markets as well. So that's just me. In past cycles, this is where they would drop the hammer. Right when everybody thought it was the start of alt season, they were just a little early. And this is where they would typically drop the hammer. Sometimes they would let it rally a little bit more just to get people suckered in, but typically they would drop it one more time here. Just like, remember last year when it looked like we were going to have a big cush rally, and then it dropped way down, then it looked like it was rallying out, and then in November, or in the August, September, it tanked. October, it kept tanking. November, it started to turn around and parabolically went out by mid to end of November. I think we're on the same trajectory likely here. Hopefully, it could take until 26 or a little bit longer, in the year. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be laser focused on this every day. Nothing's gonna get by me. Did I get nervous the last couple of days, or did I tell you the exact same setups? Which is why I read the last 2 days, because it doesn't matter if it had a spike up, it still needs to validate it. Just like when it runs down, it needs to get the bearish rejection over the top, which is what we're trying to do. And not to get the bearish rejection, you have to have the hold when it gets to that point after an overzealous run up, which is what we're exactly doing right now. Let's see. People are pissed off at the Fed. They are. And personally, if we got no rate cuts in September, it'd be the best thing that ever happened to us in crypto. They would go down so much, and we would get such, oh my God. I just don't know if they can get past September without doing it. Maybe, because technically you don't have midterms until what November of next year. So you could slow play this out. But right now, just watch that, because I'm going to go. I got to go with my son. I've given you all the time I can this morning. I'll be back tonight. But 3,558 for Ethereum is the gatekeeping zone. Watch that. For XRP, watch 289. For Bitcoin, watch 100. Well, it's technically 111,724. Then you have micro support at 110 and 106, but technically if it falls below there, we could be falling out of a rising wedge. So we are getting on the verge of having our nuts scraped here. So we're about 1,000 points away, 1,100 points away from Bitcoin being at the bottom of the rising wedge and or triangle, but if it breaks down, it's obviously a wedge. And Ethereum about 10 bucks or so from busting through the support. So we're in a tight spot here. We are in a tight spot here, but let's continue to watch it. Let's continue to pay attention. XRP's got about 8 cents here, 7 cents. You know, let's continue to watch this and see what happens. I really appreciate all of you. I encourage you to join Tom's Army, join the Telegram, and be in with all of us. Go to here if you want to trade. I like BITUNIX the best. I don't have HOTCOIN on here anymore, at least in this part of it, because I don't want it on here. BITUNIX, it's got fire blocks, so there's actually a custodial over your funds and over your holdings. If you don't know anything about fire blocks, please look into it. Lowest spot and leverage trading fees without even question. No VPN or KYC, but you're sending and receiving from another exchange and or wallet, not bank account, unless you want to go KYC, which I highly recommend not doing, so you can trade in privacy and not have an implication through taxes. But that's just me. You'll have to send it to another exchange and then incur those taxes, one that's validated if you want to take it out, you know, to a bank account. So you'll still have to pay taxes, but in a different way, not on the micro movements. So be blessed, everybody. I encourage you to join. I encourage you to be a part of this community. And one last thing, join XRPFutureMillionaire.com. It's free. I put in over $6,000 into it. I have 5 years of dedicated servers, 5 years of live APIs in the moment. These update every second on the second. Shows you all the information you need to me, even from an amateur standpoint. If you want to see it from a full scale, just hit that button. If you want to take a picture, you can download the image. You can copy the image. You can do whatever the hell you want with the image. But I put it there so you can do it. It tells you everything that I talk about, all the tokens that I believe in, even ones that I might not believe in so much but are part of the whole thing. And then it's got the different exchanges. It's got my YouTube page, yada, 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 so on and so forth. Some questions that I can answer that you might have about me. And then just some stuff. I like the way it looks. It's going to be updated even more into the future. I'm going to be able to do lives on here as well. But this is all free. It's a nice way to look at it. I've got the volume and indicator that's automatically on there for you. And then I always tell everybody, look at the stochastic. If you're trying to, oh, not symbol, what am I doing? Go into the indicators and look at stochastic. Do the RSI. And this will tell you a lot of information. In the monthly, it's still in a nice section. Although it is flipping a little bit. You know, we might need a little bit more of a down. We don't know. But the weekly is, oh, it definitely flipped bearish. Last time it did this, we had a nice micro movement down before a big parabolic spike. And then the other indicator I would put on just for your own good, the MACD, moving average convergence divergence. Don't need to get fancy. You're not trying to flip the wheel or recreate the wheel, but you do need to see the money flow. And the weekly right now, it's flowing down a little bit. The monthly, not horrible. It's just in the neutral area. And then the daily, starting to flip a little bit out of the bearish side, but it might take a little bit. And then let's go into like a yearly look real quick. Nah, yearly's too much. Figured it might be. 6 months. Oh, it's way overbought in the 6 month. Holy fuck. Lord have mercy. I didn't realize it was that high in the 6 month. Holy hell. Yeah, overall it needs a little reset here from the grand pattern. Fuck. 3 month is trying to reset, so that's good. But the MACD is about to break bearish. This is a very bearish signal if this happens. Ooh. Ooh, what does this look like then in the 6 month on this? Yeah, there's not enough data. Ouch! Ouch! Okay. Okay. So yeah, we could definitely cool off here if this plays out. This could be a big rug pull, folks. I'm just telling you, from the stochastic and the 3 and 6 month and the MAC, the moving average, this could be an issue. But we've already been ahead of this, so don't be afraid. But these are all free. You can do all this on my website. Please, XRP Future Millionaire. I encourage you. It's live 24/7. If you're a crypto, even if you're not, you can do any chart in any currency, in any denomination, USDT, USDP, USD, you know, any kind of ratio, any kind of pairing, any market. So have a blessed one, everybody, and please take advantage.